Welcome all. Today in this lecture we are about to see the beginning of genetics and early concepts of inheritance. So this is Dr. Nivedita, Seed Science and Technology from Department of Genetics and Plant Breeding. So with the help to the beginning of genetics, the word genetics was coined by William Batson and it is derived from the Latin word called genesis, which means birth, origin or beginning. So this genetics is study of heredity or inheritance of the characters from generation to generation, and this is refers to the transmission of the genetical informations, which is more precisely we can tell it as genes from parents to offsprings. So the variation in the genes called refers to the difference among the individuals of a species for a character. It may be due to the genetic, that is heredity, or environment. So there are n number of genetics. They are plant genetics, microbial genetics, animal genetics, transmission genetics, and molecular genetics or biochemical genetics, then population genetics, then quantitative genetics or biometrical or statistical or mathematical genetics, or radiation genetics, and eugenics, cytogenetics, and euphenics. So these all the types of genetics have very important in the life, and also it is having multiple applications in the life science. So in case field of medicines or in agriculture or in the pharma industry or the biotechnology industries are using these kinds of genetics. In agriculture, the major crops and animals used in agriculture have undergone extensive genetic alterations for the betterment of the yield and acquiring the desirable traits such as disease resistance, pest resistance, especially the yield improvement. With the Green Revolution in 1960s, this application of genetics came into the light, and today we are having some genetically engineered crops like maize, soybean, rapeseeds. Especially in India, we have genetically engineered cotton also. So this timeline indicates the history of genetics, where it started from the Charles Darwin, and now we are in the era of genome editing. So the foundation of this new branch of biology was laid by Dr. Gregor John Mendel in 1866, who when he discovered the basic principles of heredity. So these are all the scientists who have contributed immensely into the field of genetics. It starts with the Lamarck and Charles Darwin, and it came into the light by Gregor John Mendel in 1865, which he have developed the fundamentals of principles of heredity, and also it have continued, and so many theories were proposed by the various eminent scientists in the beginning of the genetics, and it leads to various theories from 14th centuries to 20th century, which leads to the human genome projects. So in the early concepts of inheritance, Robert Hooke in 1665 is the first person to see and name the cells. So he examined the dead cells in the bark with a primitive microscope and saw a little cubicles which is called as the cells. Followed by him, Anton von Leeuwenhoek was the first person to observe the sperm cells, and is with a very primitive microscope thought he saw the tiny body parts in the sperms. So he used this as a proof of the idea that homunculus versus the sperm and the mother's body just served as a place for the planted seed to grow. Apparently, the Leeuwenhoek himself did not claim the sperm was homunculus, but not the sperm provide the major life-giving qualities. So upon various theories like vapor fluid theory and fluid theory and spontaneous generation by Aristotle, which he claimed that non-living objects can give rise to living organisms, continues with de Graaf and Swammerdam theory and particulate theory, then pangenesis theory, where he proposed, according to pangenesis, that each organ of an individual produces very small, almost invisible identical copies of itself, called gemmules or pangenes. So these gemmules from the various parts collected into the bloodstream of animals, the blood transports the gemmules into reproductive organ, which produce the gametes. The male and female gametes unite to form the zygotes. When these gives rise to a new generation or new organism, that the gemmules of different parts of the body gives rise to same kind of organs or tissues which is produced them in the parents. So upon him, Lamarckism have developed by the Lamarck by 17th century to 18th century, where he defended that the inheritance of the acquired characters to be the most important, and the characters can be transmitted or inherited by the acquired inheritance. So upon him, germplasm theory by the August Weismann was proposed, where he explained the body of the individual consists of two different tissues, which is a very important concept, where somatoplasm and germplasm, which is a vegetative part and reproductive part, he have explained through the germplasm theory. Followed by his cell theory by Speeden and Swan was proposed. So they concluded that plant and animal tissues were made up of cells. So they postulated that the cell is a functional unit of living organism. So in 1846, Nageli said that the cells originated from the pre-existing cells, and Virchow elaborated this and referred it as a cell linkage theory. So concept of epigenesis was done by the Wolff, and also so many other theories was discussed by the previous scientists. They have explained the beginning of genetics. So upon this, this lecture is over, then we will see about the next lecture in the upcoming classes.